Hello, friends. So I bought this book at our library book sale the other day for $2. And I was just kind of looking at it and thinking about, I don't know, things to talk about. And I thought, well, I'll tell you about a vacation we went on in end of March, beginning of April. Wait a minute, maybe it was the end of April, beginning of May. Anyway, mostly in April, either way. And it was a Royal Caribbean cruise on Enchantment of the Seas out of Baltimore, Maryland. And I have never, that was the first one. I've been on cruises before, but it was the first one out of like a more northern port, like Baltimore. And it was, went to the Bahamas. It was 8 nights. So I thought maybe I'll just tell you about that trip. Maybe someone would be interested. So I thought I'll find the map of Florida. Let's see. There's a place I want to go. This is the only state I haven't been to, so I really want to go there. It's so beautiful. It's so come from the forest fires there. Okay, let's see. Wait, what? How did I miss it? Hold on. Back it up. Oh no, I'm not looking at the East Coast. Oh boy. Here we go. Okay. So, let's see. How can we make it so you can see? So, we started. Let's bring you in a little closer. So we started our trip in Baltimore. So Baltimore is kind of up in the Chesapeake Bay a little ways. It's not out on the open ocean. So it was really convenient because my sister lives in this area. So we spent the night at her house, and then we just took our sweet time and drove over there, and you park right in the parking lot. And then you can just walk, you go through like a little customs or whatever, but then you just get right on the ship, and this is what the Enchantment of the Seas looks like. It's a Royal Caribbean ship that's, I think it was built, well, I won't say because I don't know, but why do I think it was the 90s? I don't know. Anyway, it's an older ship that was smaller, but they cut it there and there, and like, I don't know if you can see this little portion right here. That's like where they cut it and they stretched it and made it a little bit bigger, but it's still a pretty small ship. I think it had something like 2,000 passengers, and it was completely full when we went on it because it was spring break, I think. So there were like kids and stuff on there. And unfortunately, there was the week before us, there was a really bad norovirus outbreak, and it was still that ship when we were on it, but it made them all cautious. So, and they should be, but so they had to serve you food at the buffet, and everything just took a long time. And their staff, I think some of their staff was sick and they couldn't keep up. So that was the only bummer part about it, but we still had a great time. We just had a lot of fun. Anyway, so we got onto the ship in the Baltimore harbor, and we took off. And what's neat about sailing out of Baltimore, they can only fit smaller ships in there because you go under the I think it's like the Key Bridge and the Chesapeake Bay Bridge. So you go under two bridges at both times. Like we went up as high as you could go, which I think is maybe this is where past, like crew could go up here, but passengers can go here. And I know you can see in the picture there's stuff above you, but when you're standing there, you feel like that bridge might take the ship out. So it was fun, you know, you go out. So you go under the bridges, and that happens late at night. So it's kind of dark, but it's pretty cool. It's worth seeing. And then you sail out here, and you start heading out into the ocean. And everything was fine the first day, but the second day, I think there was some storm kind of, I think, inland. So they took us out a little to avoid that storm, but it was still rough water. And my sister got seasick. And they closed. It was so windy. They closed all the outdoor areas. And so you couldn't go outside. And my sister was feeling really sick, and she wanted fresh air. And they'd only let people who smoke go outside. And I'm like, just tell them you're smoking. So, but the problem is then you're just standing there in a bunch of, and if you don't smoke, you don't want to be around a bunch of cigarette smoke because it makes you feel even worse. So we're just standing there kind of like every time they opened the door, we'd get a breath of fresh air. But I finally got her to go towards the center of the ship. And when you're in the center, she wanted to be in the solarium, which is on the far end, and it tends to rock more. But once we got to the center of the ship, then she felt better, and that calmed down pretty quick. So then we sailed the first 2 nights we're out in the water, open water, and you sail down to right here to Port Canaveral. This is Port Canaveral. So you pull up in Port Canaveral, and you know, a lot of people don't like Port Canaveral as a port because it's not tropical. Well, it's Florida, but it's not like the Caribbean or something. But there was a beach right there you could have gone to, but we actually paid to go to the Kennedy Space Center because none of us had actually been there before. And so they took us on a bus to Kennedy Space Center. I'm going to pull up a picture just so you guys can see it. Hold on. Let's see. Kennedy Space Center. That's not Kennedy Space Center. Okay. So that you see, like, this thing is so huge. Like, see, those are cars. So that's where they actually store the rockets. And it was kind of neat when you're driving in. You see SpaceX building, you see Blue Origin building, NASA, all the different people who are making space. I don't know, equipment, rock. Anyway, so you see it all. It's pretty neat. And you see lots of alligators. Okay, so here's like a little map of the Space Center. So you come in here, and we took a bus somewhere, a train, I forget what it was, I guess a bus, and it takes you out to this Apollo Saturn Center, I think. I'm trying to remember how it was called, but anyway. So then they take you in the actual room where they did the launch of the first, you know, the one that went to the moon. Oh my God, Apollo. And that was pretty fun. They make the whole room kind of like shake like it did, and so that was pretty neat. And then you go out and you walk around. Oops, I'm getting ahead of myself. I like to look at the pictures. I don't take pictures. I'm really bad at it. So I'm not very good at it. But they take you, then you can walk around Space Center more. And then there's this one spot where they show you a movie, and then the screen opens, they show you another movie. And then it's like a screen, I think that's what they call it, kind of screen where it lights up from behind, and then they take you out, and it's the Atlantis, the Space Shuttle Atlantis, which was really cool. That was fun to see. And then you can read all about, you know, the Challenger that exploded, I guess, and what happened there. And so so that was all very interesting. And that was a nice trip. And then the only weird thing about that, and this is just gossip, there was a lady, let me remember. Okay, so we take the bus with the cruise. And this story has two parts, so I'll try to remember to tell you the second part later. But, and the bus, they let us all off. And this one lady, while they let you off, and then they hand you the ticket to the Kennedy Space Center, and you pay for that all in advance. So this one lady comes up and she goes, "We didn't get our ticket when we got off the bus. You didn't give us the ticket." And the woman's counting the tickets as she hands them out, and she's like, "Well, hold on." And she's like, "No, I want my ticket," and starts like yelling at the woman working there. And we were kind of like, she's lying, like she's just trying to get free tickets. And I don't know what happened with that because we left, but it was very weird. Like she was intentionally trying to like get this lady off her, count. And my brother-in-law and I were like watching her going, she seems sketchy. But anyway, so that happened. To be continued. So then we left Port Canaveral that evening, and you go, like when you're on a cruise ship, you can have dinner complimentary, like with your cruise fare, either in the buffet, or you could go like have hamburgers and hot dogs up on, but we always go to the main dining room and sit down because it just feels nicer. So the first few nights, and we have cruised with Royal Caribbean in the past, and the food was always very good, but this time we had some, I hate to say it, but like bad food, not good food, some of it. And we were like, oh boy, what's happening? And there was this whole norovirus thing, and we did feel like a lot of the staff was maybe not around. But I'm not picky. I'm really not picky. But some of it was inedible. There was I feel like it was a lasagna. It didn't even resemble lasagna. It was not very good. But anyway, so that was the first couple nights. But I think it was on this night, or maybe it was another night. But we looked at they have pictures of all the staff, and it says who they are and where they're from. So it showed the head chef was from Jamaica. So I think maybe it was that night they had jerk chicken on the menu, and my sister and I were both like, we're getting the jerk chicken because the chef's Jamaican. And they brought out that jerk chicken, and it was like a half a chicken, which, was a lot. And I think it came with like plantains and brown rice. It was phenomenal. It was really good, moist. We were like, okay, this is the key. You gotta get, and that makes me happy because I like spicy food. So I was all for like, get me. So we started ordering a lot more of the Indian food because they always have something kind of Indian or anything spicy. So anyway, whatever. The food got much better as the trip went along. It wasn't all terrible. Although the worst part, I did complain, good grief, because we had a great time. But the worst part about the whole them serving you was they didn't have enough people working the beverages in the morning, and all I care about is coffee in the morning. Like, I don't need to eat. I actually do this intermittent fasting. I usually don't, but I want coffee, and I could not get. You'd have to wait in line to get a cup of coffee. That's where I draw the line. But it was fine. It was all fine. Whatever. It was fine. Anyway, so we left Cape Canaveral, and then you sail down here. Oh, they don't have the islands. Hold on. Because we didn't really go far from the south of Florida, honestly. In fact, the one place we went was called Bimini, and my father-in-law said when his cousin lived in Florida, they would sail down to Bimini and hang out, like on a little tiny sailboat. So it's not far at all. Let's see if I can figure out where it is on here, though. The Bahamas. Okay, so I think after Cape Canaveral, so Florida's here. Like, here's, it's hard to, order we went, but I feel like maybe next was Nassau. I kind of think we're going to Nassau. And Nassau's a stop that like a lot of cruise ships go to. I think there's some like rule that if they go to the Bahamas, they have to stop in Nassau because it's the capital and they want the money, but I could be wrong about that. But I feel like I heard that. So I've been to Nassau a bunch of times. However, this time we did something that I hadn't done before. We walked to what's called the Queen's Staircase, and it looks like this. That was actually kind of neat. And we walked up to a fort that was called Fort Fincastle, which was, you know, fairly interesting. It's just an old fort like you see on a lot of Caribbean islands. I think the British, I think maybe the French, I don't know. It depends on the island, I guess. The Dutch, whoever was like pretending like they owned the island, would build their fort there. I think this one's British. I know it is because the Queen's Staircase was for Queen Victoria, and it's made out of like a piece of, it's 66 steps, and they carved it out of, oh, I forget. It's not like alabaster, but it's some stone, limestone maybe, and they had slaves carve it for Queen Victoria, who probably, I don't know if she ever even went there, but it was to get up to the fort, and the fort was put in to protect the island from pirates. That's what they say in the thing. But anyway, but it was really pretty, and we were able to walk there, and then we walked back, and we went over to the beach, and the beach was jam-packed, to be honest, but we kind of walked around the beach a little bit, and then we stopped at a little restaurant and got beers. We were going to get lunch because my husband was hungry, but honestly, the service, we just couldn't, all we could get was beer. And we went up to the bar to get those. But the guy came around, and I said, we're hungry. And he brought us out a free sample of some curry. So that was good, but it was kind of like, I'm like, oh, well, we'd order a real meal. But it was fine. We went back to the ship, and we ate lunch on board the ship, I guess. I don't remember. Anyway, and then, so then we left that night, and I think that the next place we went was Bimini, and it's tiny, and I'm not sure I could even find it on here. It seems to me that they used to stop at a different island, but that island got wrecked during one of the storms. So now they go to Bimini, and I don't really know where it is, but it's in here somewhere, and it's a pretty small island that I think Virgin Cruises uses it as their like private island. And what was kind of interesting, our cab driver, we drove out to a beach called Radio Beach. I'll show you a picture. I actually do a picture of that, I think. Yeah, so this is Radio Beach. It was beautiful. It was like bright blue water. That's our ship. The water was really bright, and my sister and brother-in-law and I decided we're gonna walk this way. So we start walking, and it was like, I want to say it was lava rock, but I don't know if they have volcanoes, so I don't know what it was, but it was pretty sharp rock. So we thought, well, we'll get in the water, because we heard that if you swim down to the end, it's really pretty. So we'll get in the water and swim it, and we started swimming it. And I don't think that we were strong enough swimmers, because we kept getting pushed back. So we had to get back out and just walk on the sharp rock all the way to the end. But it was worth it, because it was really beautiful down there. And people told us about a sunken ship. Well, it's like a boat that's underwater, that's all rusted out, but whatever, it was interesting. And then, but the end, it was really beautiful. I don't think I have a picture of that, but I mean, it was really beautiful up there, and there was nobody there. It was like just us, and so that was cool. So then we walked back down Radio Beach, and the only thing I'd say about that beach is, I wish it was like even the cruise lines should pay for this, actually, because they send a lot of people. there, but they could clean up like the trash. Like there were bottles of like bleach and just plastic, and I'm sure washes in from the ocean, but I feel like these cruise lines are sending so many people there. They should probably pay to clean the beaches. I don't know, just the thought. Anyway, so, but there was like a little kind of, I don't even know if you can, I don't want to make it sound yucky, but I'd call it like a fish shack. Like it was just sort of like a shack. But we ordered fresh fried fish, and you could see them taking the fish and putting it in, And then, so we ate it with all the bones. So all I had left were bones. That was fun. I had actually never done that before. And then this guy came over and he goes, "You gotta eat the cheeks. The cheeks are the best part." I was like, okay. So he ate the cheeks. I did not eat the eyeball. He said to. I was like, I'll pass on that. But anyway, so that was fun. And then we went back towards we had our same cab driver. He came back for us. I don't remember how he knew to come back. I think maybe we told him in time. He was really, really nice older man, and it was very inexpensive. I don't remember what it cost, but it wasn't much to go out to Radio Beach. So when he was taking us back, he's like, "Well, I'll take you on a tour of the island the other way where Virgin has its private beach." And we were like, "Oh, okay." And he goes, "Well, what's kind of silly about it is you can't have a private beach in Bimini. It all has to be public." So he's like, "You can walk right out on the beach, even though the cruise lines sell you the package," which they did on Royal Caribbean, because Virgin wasn't using it that day. You could pay to go there, and it's like a swimming pool on the beach. But you can just walk out there because they can't be private apparently. And I was like, oh, interesting. But anyway, we drove by all that, but it was all real new and fancy. So if you're into that new, like brand new looking fancy stuff, that would be the area to go. But we're kind of like, we want to eat the fish fried by a local person. So, and then this beach right here was right, you walk, this is our ship, and you walk right off the port, and this beach is right here. And people pay a lot of money to go to other beaches. So if you're like on a budget, you could just take your family and hang out at this beach. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. So at the end, we were about to get on the ship, and we're like, we have like an hour and a half before we really have to get on the ship. So we just came and hung out and swam in here, and that was nice. So anyway, that was Bimini. We actually really enjoyed that, and we had planned to rent a go-kart there, or golf cart, I mean. But we ended up taking a taxi, and we liked the taxi because he was so friendly and explained everything to us, told us where to go, where to shop, where to get beer, where, he was really friendly. And he was right, because back behind the beach, we found like a beer store where we bought like a 6-pack for $5 or something. And so, yeah, that was a fun day. We had a fun day, fun in the sun. Okay, so then the next day, I guess the last stop was Royal Caribbean's private island, which is called Coco Cay. And let me see if I have a picture of Coco Cay. Hold on. Okay, I'm gonna bring up Coco Cay. Hold on. Because it's their private island. It's beautiful. I think they do a really nice job. And we were so, okay, that's basically a picture of Coco Cay with one of the ships there. And there is like a whole amusement park situation. The private pictures, yeah. You can like take a balloon and all these things, but we're old, so we don't need to do all that. So, and there are all these swimming pools, but we like the ocean, so we didn't do that. We just, here's a map. Okay, so you get there and why is the map blurry? Anyway, I don't know. Okay, so you get there and you come in off the port, and then there was anyway, there's a tram you can take, and you take the tram up around here, and they let us off, I think right up here somewhere. And so I had heard there was like a secret beach past South Beach, and there was. And we went down there, and we were the only people there. And there was a little, bar there. We were the only people there. But I'll tell you what, we were basically the only people on the island because on the day we were there, we were the only ship, and we had 2,500 people. And they have enough chairs on this island for, 14,000 people. So we had the whole place to ourselves. We could just do whatever. There were no lines for anything. It was a phenomenal day. We had so much fun that day. And the very next day, because we looked it up to see what ships were in, there were 2 ships that were going to be in. And one of them was like the Allure of the Seas, and the other, I forget, but it was going to be like 14,000 people or something crazy like that the very next day. And I think, depending on what day you're there, it would be a totally different experience. Because for us, it was like magical. It was like having a private island to yourself. And it was great. So we hung out down on this beach for a little while. And then we walked down and we ate lunch. I don't know, there's a lunch place in here. And the lunch was really good. And because there were no lines, you could just get whatever you wanted and keep going back. Get whatever. Anyway, so that was fun. And then we kind of cut across and we took a look at the pool and went, no pool for us. And then I think we sat on this beach for a minute and we looked at these. These are the, I forget what they're called, but they're like above the water huts. What are they called? Cabanas. And they charge something like $1,000 to use the cabana for a day. I'm a very frugal, some may say cheap person. I think that would be a ridiculous expense unless you're wealthy and the island was completely packed. Then I guess maybe. But on the day we were there, the only thing, they had a slide that went into the ocean. But we saw a lot of those people were coming over and sitting because, you kind of want to be able to go in from the sand. So they were walking back and then going this way. We're like, I don't know about that. But then I think it was when we came over to this part. I think it was like this chill island area somewhere around here. You can snorkel. And I think I told this story on one of my other videos, the one with the bears, on the picture. It's like a wildlife one. But anyway, we went snorkeling from one of these spots, Chill Island, or I forget. One of them was closed because it was too rough. But the other one, we went snorkeling. And we were out snorkeling and we saw, all these, are they manta rays? Stingrays. I guess manta, these were little, so stingrays. And I saw barracuda and it was really cool. And my sister and brother-in-law and I are out there and we're like, this is so cool. So then, and you have to be out kind of far, not real far, but kind of far. And we brought our own snorkel mask and snorkel. We had our own snorkel equipment, so we could just go in, And so we did that, and then we came back and we took a nap. And then my sister's like, "Wait, you saw barracuda? I want to see barracuda." I go, "All right, let's go back out." And barracudas are kind of, if you don't know what they are, they're like these big fish. And I feel like every time I snorkel, I see one, and they're intimidating and kind of weird looking. And they have long snouts, but they're full of teeth. They're just like, they're like kind of prehistoric looking fish, but they're pretty cool. I mean, I think it's cool to see. So my sister and I go back out, and they have, because it's their private island, they have a lifeguard on a jet ski. And she goes, "Hey, if you're looking to see a stingray, go over the other way. They're over." Well, now it's making me think we were out here because I thought the stingray went under the cabanas. Oops. So maybe we were actually here somewhere. I'm confused. But anyway, so she said, "Go over by the cabanas because the stingray are all hanging out over there. So not all, there were like 3 other people in the water. They go over there. And my sister and I are like, no, because we're trying to find a barracuda. And I saw one here. So we kind of stayed where we were and we're snorkeling around. And all of a sudden, we see you see the shadow first of this big thing. And this lifeguard goes, or I guess we saw it. This shark comes by and lifeguard goes, did you guys see that shark? We're like, yeah. And I am definitely afraid of sharks. Like, I hardly get in the water because I'm scared of sharks. I mean, I do it because I believe in overcoming fear. You have to do stuff. But I'm scared of them. And I believed in my heart that if I saw a shark, I would freak out and go tearing out of the water. But I don't know what happened. I just was like, I want to see the shark. So my sister starts like chasing it. She goes, come on, let's follow. I'm like, I don't think we should follow it. That might be too much. But we did kind of follow it. And then another shark comes by and another smaller shark. And so that was crazy. And I'm telling you, the first one we saw was really large. I don't know. I don't want to tell like a fishtail, but I would swear it was 8 feet, but maybe that's crazy. I don't know. It was a big shark. But we later learned they're called lemon sharks, and they're kind of like lemon-y looking color, and they're not generally aggressive, I guess, but still, I can't believe I swam with them because of my fear of sharks. But it was awesome. That was awesome. And that was towards the end of the day. So then we walked this way across this bridge, and right here I think it's right there. Maybe it's right here. Anyway, you'll see it along here. There's a great spot to take a picture with the ship in the background. So we did that. We took a couple pictures of my sister and her husband. My husband's along on this, but he has some health issues, so he doesn't do all the activities as much. But then you go back here, and then you take the dock back, and you walk right on your ship, which is so great because this is the water park that's there. You can pay, I think, like $90 to go to the water park. But one great thing about all of these ports was I think we all did. Yeah, they did. They all have docks that you pull right up. You don't have to tender. When you tender, that means you get on another boat, a smaller boat, and you take it in, which is okay, but a lot of times you have to wait in line for that. And if you ever have a tender, I advise getting up early and kind of being the first ones on it, because later the line can get long. Like if you try to go at 10 or 11, you might wait in line, but or you could wait till later, I guess, if you're not in a rush. But I love it when they just have a dock. You can walk right off. Yeah, these are the cabanas. See, you can see, like, well, there's the ship. Those are 2 big ships. Our ship was half that size, and only one. But like, you're sitting on the beach right here, and then these cabanas you pay all this money for. I don't know if it's worth it, guys. I think you might get drinks. I guess if you got, I don't know what you get. Even if you got drinks, you'd have to, doesn't seem worth it. Anyway, so that was a really fun time. That was probably the best day there. I wish they would stay at night like this. That would be really cool. Like, on the way out, my sister went to the bathroom, and we stopped at this little bar that we hadn't been to until the way out. And I thought, oh, I wish I could stay and sit in here because it was so cool looking. And I thought, oh, I guess it would be so beautiful at night. But I had heard that they have trouble because they can't get enough electricity there at night. But it sure looks in this photo like they have electricity. So I don't know. Seems like that would be really fun, though. Anyway, that was a great stop. So then you leave Coco Cay, and basically you spend, where's the vertical? Oops. Why do I should just memorize the page. The outward work. Well, here we go. So then you spend the next 2 days sailing back up here. I think you just kind of hug the coast all the way. Sometimes when they leave out of Baltimore, they stop in Charleston. but this one didn't. This one just keeps going. So we had 2 days at sea, and it was calm waters. It was totally fine. By then we'd figured out the food situation, so we enjoyed the food. We had oh, I know, one day, the last day at sea, for lunch we paid. It was normally like maybe $45, but I think on Black Friday or something we got it on sale, so it was like $25 to have lunch, where the gist of it is they give you a food item from all their different specialty restaurants. I don't think we got that, to be honest. It was like called Chef's Table or something, but they gave you a filet mignon that was delicious. That was the best part of the meal. It was perfect. I would pay for it just to have that again, but otherwise I was like, eh. I mean, I had seen pictures where they give you this like hard ball of chocolate and you crack it. They didn't do anything like that. My kitty cat's knocking on the door, so if you hear it. Anyway, so then we sailed back up the coast all the way to Baltimore, and then you just get off. It was so easy. Get in our car, drove back to my sister. It was like easy breezy. I thought it was a great time. And the other great thing about it was I happened to book it at a time like way out, I don't know, a year out or something. So it was only like $399 per person for 8 nights with food, all your food's included. So it was hard for me to complain about the food at all, because I was like, I got such a good deal on this. But I know, like, my sister's friends who went, they spent like $1,000 each because they bought into it later. So that's crazy. I mean, I would be a little disappointed, honestly, because, like I said, I wasn't quite as good as it should. But it was a great time. We had so much fun. We saw all the show. We saw the show every single night, and most nights it was really good. There was a girl in the ensemble cast who could sing like crazy, and you just kind of think, I want you to do more than this. But I don't know. I guess it's a good start. I don't know what they paid those performers. I mean, she was in every show. She was awesome. Our like room steward, our room was totally clean and friendly, but I'm not like super talkative, so you'd be surprised to know I'm not super talkative. But when I'm out, and the room steward was awesome, like just took care of things but didn't bug us. I don't know how they know you're in and out of the room, but I'm interested in that actually, because I feel like I read something on Reddit the other day where somebody said they can tell. Oh, it's because some guy went overboard and they could tell that he had left his room at 1 o'clock and come back at 2 or something like that. I'm like, how do they know he left? So I wonder if there's some kind of way they know your door's been open and closed, or if they just see the hallway camera. I don't know. Anyway, but it seems like they know when you're not there, because they get in there and clean. Even when, like, I don't know how they do it. Like, my husband takes naps because of his health, and they seem to know when he's there. They never knock on the door. I don't know how it works. Anyway, all right. Well, guys, I don't know if that was relaxing or boring or whatever, but hopefully it was okay. My kitty cat's knocking at the door, so I